It was a normal evening when Derek Lawson, a father in Los Baños, California, found himself doing something many parents do, checking his son's phone. Little did he know, that simple action would lead him down a path he could never have imagined. It was a moment that would change his life, and his son's forever. Derek had recently given his 13-year-old son, Ethan, a new phone. Like most parents, Derek installed an app called Sentry, a tool designed to monitor Ethan's messages for any concerning words. It was meant to keep Ethan safe, especially as he grew older and started using social media more. But one evening, the app sent a sudden notification. The word baby kept appearing in his son's messages. Curious, Derek scrolled through the conversation, unaware of the horrors that awaited him. What he saw made his blood run cold. Messages from Ethan's teacher, Britney Zamora, filled the screen. One message read, "Hey baby." Another, "I miss you so much." It didn't stop there. The messages became more graphic, "Thinking about your sexy self." And then a chilling, "I wish you were with me." Derek's heart dropped. This was no innocent conversation. His son, a 13-year-old boy, was being preyed upon by the one person he trusted, his teacher. The woman who was supposed to educate and protect his child had betrayed that trust in the most vile way. Britney Zamora was 27 years old, a bright, young teacher at Los Baños Academy. A graduate of the University of Arizona, she had always dreamed of working with children. Her energy and passion for science had made her popular among her students. By all outward appearances, she was a dedicated and well-liked educator. She lived in the small town of Los Baños, a place where everyone knew everyone. Zamora had quickly earned the trust of both her colleagues and the parents of her students. The scandal that would soon unfold seemed unimaginable to anyone who knew her. She was the kind of teacher who tutored after school, volunteered for various activities, and always appeared to be doing her best for the students. But behind closed doors, a dark secret was brewing. What no one knew was that Zamora had begun grooming Ethan Lawson, one of her students. It started with innocent conversations about schoolwork, but soon, those innocent chats turned into something far more sinister, a dangerous manipulation of power and trust. And it all happened under the guise of a caring teacher. Derek had always trusted his son. He believed that Ethan was responsible and mature for his age, but the discovery of the messages shattered that trust. When the Sentry app alerted him about the inappropriate conversation, Derek initially thought it was a harmless exchange between friends. But as he dug deeper, he found the chilling truth. The messages weren't from a friend. They were from Britney Zamora. The messages were filled with flirtation and sexual undertones, building a web of manipulation that was too clear to ignore. Zamora had convinced Ethan to believe that their connection was special, something hidden from the world. Derek read with horror as one message read, "I wish you were with me," a phrase that haunted him as he realized the depth of what had transpired. The discovery didn't just impact Derek, it shattered him. As a father, this was a violation of the worst kind. Not only had his son been exploited, but it was a trusted figure who had done this. The weight of betrayal fell heavily on his shoulders as he tried to make sense of it all. After making the horrifying discovery, Derek took immediate action. He called Britney Zamora, his voice trembling with anger and disbelief. What followed was a confrontation that no parent should ever have to experience. "Do you understand what you've done?" Derek shouted into the phone, his voice a mixture of rage and heartbreak. "You are a monster. You're a pedophile. You're a child molester. Do you understand me?" Zamora's response was nothing short of chilling. At first, she denied everything. But as Derek pressed her further, her words became frantic and defensive. She attempted to justify her actions, but Derek wasn't listening. He demanded answers, but what he received was a jumbled mess of excuses. The conversation ended with Derek's cold warning. "The next time you'll hear from me, it will be in court," he said, his voice seething with fury. After the confrontation, Derek went straight to the authorities. He reported everything to the school, and soon, an investigation was underway. Britney Zamora was placed on administrative leave while law enforcement began to investigate the crime. Detectives began piecing together the evidence, scouring through Ethan's phone and social media. They found more than just text messages. There were explicit video messages exchanged through Snapchat, sent by Zamora to Ethan. The videos were damning, showing the teacher in compromising situations. As the investigation deepened, it became clear that the abuse had been ongoing for months. Zamora had used her position of authority to manipulate Ethan, convincing him that their relationship was something more than it was. Ethan had been made to believe that he was special, that this was their secret bond, hidden from the world. As investigators questioned Ethan, the full extent of the abuse came to light. In a tearful confession, Ethan spoke of the many times he had been coerced into physical intimacy with his teacher. The first encounter had occurred after school hours in a classroom, with Zamora using her position as a teacher to keep him isolated. "It felt wrong," Ethan admitted, his voice shaky. "But she told me it was our secret. She said I was special, that no one would understand." The timeline of the abuse unfolded. It began with innocent after-school tutoring sessions, but soon it escalated. The sexual acts took place not only in the classroom but also off campus, in places that Ethan would later describe as a blur of confusion and fear. As the investigation gathered momentum, authorities tracked down Britney Zamora. The arrest was made just off a highway as she was driving, her face pale and her hands trembling. She was placed under arrest without incident, but her demeanor told a different story. She knew her life was over. The body cam footage from the officers who arrested her captured the moment she was placed in handcuffs. She didn't protest, but there was an eerie calmness about her as she was read her rights. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I never meant for this to happen." But the damage had already been done. Zamora was taken into custody, and the weight of her crime was about to unfold in court. Britney Zamora faced a series of charges: sexual conduct with a minor, attempted molestation, and public sexual indecency. She pled guilty to all charges, and in 2019, she was sentenced to 20 years in prison. The courtroom was filled with emotions as the Lawson family watched, hoping for justice. Zamora's sentencing marked the end of a disturbing chapter. But even as she was led away, questions lingered. Why had she done it? What drove a trusted educator to betray her students in the most egregious way? In the aftermath of the scandal, the community of Los Baños was left reeling. Parents were terrified. Teachers were scrutinized. The small town, once untouched by such horrors, was forever changed. The school, too, struggled to rebuild trust with the students and families affected by the scandal. People couldn't understand how someone like Zamora, who had seemed so caring and trustworthy, could do something so monstrous. The public outrage was palpable, and the consequences of her actions echoed through the community for years to come. Psychologists and experts weighed in on the case, trying to understand what had led to Zamora's actions. Many spoke of the psychology of grooming, a manipulative process in which the abuser builds a bond of trust before exploiting their victim. What had Zamora thought when she crossed the line? Was it a momentary lapse in judgment, or was it part of a calculated plan? Experts speculated on the deeper psychological triggers that might have led to her behavior, though the answers seemed elusive. The case set a legal precedent for how schools handle teacher-student relationships. It raised crucial ethical questions about the responsibilities of educators and the vulnerabilities of students in the classroom. What safeguards could have been in place to prevent such an incident? How could schools better protect children from the manipulation of those they trust the most? As of today, Britney Zamora remains incarcerated in the Arizona Department of Corrections. She is scheduled for release in 2038, but the scars of her actions will never fade. Her life is forever marked by the crime she committed, and the damage done to her victim is irreversible. Ethan Lawson, now older, carries the emotional weight of what happened. While he is trying to move on with his life, the trauma he endured will stay with him forever. The case of Britney Zamora serves as a haunting reminder of the dangers lurking in places where trust should be the strongest. If you found this story chilling, insightful, and thought-provoking, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Hit the bell icon so you never miss a new video. And leave us a comment and share your thoughts below. Thank you for watching, and remember, the truth is often more disturbing than fiction. Stay informed, stay safe, and we'll see you on the next one.